to the Old Man Orange podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan.
Joined again for a movie that I've actually never seen anybody do a podcast on yet, it seems like. I mean, somebody probably has. So if you want to go out there and search for it, I bet you can find it. But it never seems to come up for as popular as the other movie is.
Well, like Goofy movie, the first one was one of those things where it happened, and then it just kind of disappeared. And then later, people from our generation, like, remember that movie? And then before you know it, you start seeing Powerline on T-shirts, like at Target or whatever, as if it was like a fake concert T-shirt or something like that. And then this is one where it's like, well, I don't think this one had as big of an impact. 'Cause a lot of the straight-to-DVD Disney movies never really do.
Well, I think it's that, and it's like Space Jam. Space Jam's in that same ballpark where it was huge when it came out, and then it just like disappeared, and then all of a sudden it had like sort of like a resurgence. Like the Loch Ness Monster if it came back up one day and just been like, yeah, fuck you, I've been here the whole time, suck my dick. Oh, Loch Ness
first
Monster.
words. Like, we didn't even know. First off, we didn't believe this thing existed. Second, we didn't even know it could fucking talk. And this is what it chose to say. I'm here, suck my dick. Just flapping its fucking like fins right in the water.
You're like, why does it say that? Well, you know how Scottish guys like to go down to the pond and put their dick in the water, and go, suck my fucking dick. It's just a common thing.
Apparently it is.
You get bored in Scotland on a Tuesday.
It's more of a local thing, I guess. I mean, not a lot of people know about it, but they're like, oh yeah, what's old Seamus doing? Well, he's jamming his dick in the lake again. It's got sucked off yet? Not yet, but he really wants something to suck it off. He's hoping for. Yeah. He gave up about the mermaid he gave up on the lady of the lake from Arthur. He's just hoping it's going to be a fucking Loch Ness Monster by this point. He's waiting for something. He's very lonely. Shit's not going right for Seamus.
The worst part too is the Seamus family line has continued this tradition for many years.
How they keep on spawning, I have no idea.
And you see, that's where the name Seamus comes from. It stands for Great Shame of Us.
The only thing they really have. You literally spelled it out right to me, but it just clicked in. Don't ask me. We're doing this later.
But speaking of movie-wise and so on, we're doing the extremely goofy movie, the 2000 straight-to-video movie. And I'm going to say this. I never even watched it when it came out in 2000 because, well, once again, that would have been 2000 version of myself would have been like, yeah, right, man. American cartoons, especially made by Disney. Like, yeah, right. It's not made by G-Pan. It's not important.
He's a son going off to college.
Going already? See ya!
Goodbye, my little college man.
And going for the extreme adventure.
Let's do it! Yes!
Until...
Maxie! I'm just a yearning for some learning.
Next February and only on video. One goofy dad is about to learn how to groove. Disney presents a movie that proves no matter how old you are, you never stop learning. That family comes first, even if your dad is goofy.
Dad, you're scaring people.
An extremely goofy movie, shredding onto video. Leap Day 2000.
That would have been that era.
So this one right here, I'll say this. It's been a long time since I've seen this movie. Goofy movie is one of those ones I haven't seen in a while. And then I kind of later, like around college, I saw it a few times and it really sank in with me. And then we did a retrospect for it here. And then Goofy movie was one the Extremely Goofy movie is one I did see back right when it came out. And then, I want to say it was like last day of school, or last day before spring break, something kind of like that. And teacher brought it in, like, all right, cool. All right, you have your arms crossed, like, it's a Disney movie, but whatever. It's better than not having to do work, And then you watch it, you're kind of like actually kind of chuckling at it, even though you're trying not to. And I'll say, looking back at it, like, there's certain things that just kind of went over my head then that I saw now, like. We talked about how the first one, how it was, like, I'll say this, I like the first one way more than this one, but that being said, the first one, it was like this weird. The first one, it's like, how do I put it? It's essentially Disney saying to kids, "Hey kids, we're hip, we're cool," and it's essentially the relation between Max and Goofy. That's the relationships between what that audience was, what that movie was aiming for, and the audience they were targeting.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like, we got all this current 90s lingo and all these 90s references, yet we're still doing the 60s song and dance shit. So it's really off balance. Like, I think you guys missed the ball on that one, but still, I end up liking that movie. And then this one, though, I feel like it does it again. They take out the music. Not music, but they take out the
musicalness of it.
The musical aspect. They'll get like some songs in there and some kind of musical scenes, but they fit them in there in a way where it's people just not breaking out into song.
Yeah, it's like a movie with music and so on. But I kid you not, though, this is probably about the only, like, the third time I've ever seen this movie or something like that. And in watching it, I go, you know what? I think it's about just as good as the other Goofy movie. Now, the other one's, like, classic just as, like, childhood remembrance, but, like, I enjoyed this one so much the whole way through. Like, nothing I can complain about it. Like, I liked all the moments and everything like that. I was really like, you know what? Because I used to think of that movie, too, as like, Goofy movie's like up here, it's amazing and everything like that. The Extremely Goofy movie's just like one step down. I would say they're about on par. It's just the classicness of, being in 1995 and seeing a Goofy movie. I think that's the difference.
Well, the thing about this one is, I feel like in some ways, this one Chander even harder because it's kind of like X Games, kids. That's popular. Kids like the X Games, and they even thrown the ESPN logo up there and all that. And then on top of that, though, even though it's trying to do all the very try to reach out to the kids, it also does this thing where it's way more harder and way more depressing when it comes to shit about Goofy. Because there's a scene, like, I don't care who you are. You can say you like what you will about how much you hate this movie or how lame it is, but that scene when Goofy comes in, like when he realizes Max is gone, they're having this whole, whatever, we're in a VW van, Dad, we're going off to college, we're going to slam some bus, what?
It's like, PJ is going to jerk me off along the way. He's like, what? Oh, I didn't say that. Yeah, you will. You will, you little fatty.
Shut the fuck up, PJ, and start jerking me off. But shut the fuck up.
PJ, your college name's going to be BJ now. Oh, but Max, I didn't sign up for that. Oh, jeez.
That's what I told. He's like, well, PJ, that's what I told you. You can't let them. You can't be the weak one. Otherwise, you're the ones sucking dick.
Under your thumb, PJ.
So
under your thumb.
Remember, PJ, it's important. You don't have to be the strongest guy in the group, just not the weakest.
Just not the guy who has to suck dick on a road trip. Life lessons from Pete.
No, so, but then, like, once Goofy goes up there and he's just walking around Max's old room, there's nothing in there, and he's all by himself, and he sits down. And here's, like, one of the big things, because usually I think a lot of movies like this would try and spell it out for the kids, especially, like, maybe some, like, the straight-to-DVD one, where he's all like, gosh, Max is gone, and I'm sad. He doesn't say that. He's just really quiet, walking around. There's, like, a sad, like, orchestral song with a violin. And this is one of those lines where it's just, like, he barely says it. It's not even, like, it almost is, like... It's almost more like an utterance. Like, he picks up, like, the teddy bear that Max left behind. He's not even like, oh, Max, I miss you. He's all like, oh, Max. like it's not. It's like a very kind of like almost like not even so much he kind of says it. It's more of like a very reactionary, just kind of like, oh, Max. You don't even see him say it. He's like looking at the bear when he says it. Then he just holds the bear, has this little pan out of this house all by himself.
Well, like Max's room, it's just like there's just like very few things left in there. It's like Max literally took everything when it's like he completely moved out. So there's like the bed has like no sheets on it anymore. There's no posters on the wall. There's no clothes. It's like almost like he died and somebody came by and took everything away.
And then then Goofy has to go to like work at the most
like,
depressing toy factory.
He's like working like a Bruce Springsteen song practically. Where he's going into the factory line, like, I got a job at the factory, because my name's Goofy.
I think this is the irony, like, it's a toy store, it's a toy factory, yet it looks so depressing and so just bleak.
Well, that's the thing about Goofy. Goofy always just has, like, the shittiest jobs. I think it's supposed to be like that. Because I really think that the whole point of Goof Troop was trying to reach out to the kids, be like, hey kids, your dad might not be perfect. He might be a goof, but you still, you know what? He tries his best for you, damn it. Because I think they really wanted to, because, you know, like in so many things you watch, like, who's your dad? Oh, my dad's the CEO at this, you know, company and so on. So I always feel like those are like totally unrelatable. But then it's like, you see the Goofy dad where either he's working the mall photographer job that Pete owns, or he's working at the toy, which makes me wonder, what happened to that mall photographer? Did Pete fire him or something like that, and he had to go work at the factory?
I could see that job just going under. Like, Pete didn't pay enough people, or he could be like, you know, sexual harassment, so he lost the job, something like that.
Yeah, so something happened there, and then so Goofy had to go get a job down at the factory. It's like, I feel like you could almost take some Bruce Springsteen songs and really fill them in over, like, the Goofy movie, and it would almost work well in the soundtrack.
Goofy he just seems like a guy who's just bottling all up. Like, deep down, he's really sad, but he's just like, I'm just forcing a fucking smile just to get through the day. One day I just might come in with a shotgun. We never know what's going to happen.
I think that's 100% Goofy. Goofy's just the guy who wants, you know, he wants everything to be nice and perfect. Not like perfect, but, you know, just have everybody having a good time and hanging out. But the world just is always sort of against him. And it just puts him in the shittiest situation. And then he even has to, like, he ends up, like, spacing out during the factory line. And he's thinking of Max and so on. And it jams up the whole machine. And you have a Goofy cartoon moment and so on. But he ends up getting fired from this. And then he's literally at, like, the unemployment line.
Yeah,
it's just like this was like real world problems, kids. And it's like this is what makes
that's one of those things. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say is he gets to the unemployment line and he can't even get a job through the unemployment line, which I think is supposed to be like a message to children, like, no kids, stay in school, because they have that thing where it's like, well, you don't have a college degree, Mr. Goof, so it's that or get ready to start sucking dick on the street. Oh gosh. I don't think Max would.
That's that line out there around the corner. It's in the alley.
Yeah, exactly. The hobo club will teach you the ways. But
crusty shaking tips.
But yeah, it's just that thing where it's just like you just watch the spiral go downhill, where it's just like, well, I guess I got to go back to school, you know.
He's actually kind of happy about it because that means he gets to spend time with Max, though. So it gives him a reason to go see his son again.
It almost kind of reminds me of like the Rodney Dangerfield movie Back to School. Even though that one's almost like, sorry, that's more like your rich dad showing up and just being like, hey, I'm going to take over the town. What do you expect? You know, like, we got ladies in here. We got to put a pool in here. Everything's going to be great, son. He's like, but Dad, I'm just trying to focus on my homework. Fuck homework, man. We could be the kings of this school.
I've never seen that, but I can totally imagine that.
Oh my God.
It almost sounds like if Pete moved in.
It really sort of, dude, that movie is, if you ever run across that movie, watch it. Rodney Dangerfield's Back to School is hilarious. It's totally awesome. But that's what it is. More like the son's like, yeah, Dad, I really want to, like, you know, do school. And then, oh, son, let's go do drugs. Let's get hookers. We're going to have the greatest time ever. Just me and my old boy. Slapping dicks together. Ain't nothing gay about it.
Let's go try and finger bang that girl from your 4th period class.
Come on, we can do it. We'll
together,
tag team it together.
Moment.
I even bought a WWF, like, you know, tag team belt for us. We can have it with honor. So it's like, oh, geez, Dad, you know, I just, you know, I'm just gonna say this. I'm not really into girls. What? It's the 80s. What do you can't just say that. Jesus Christ.
You keep bottling up. You don't tell that to me.
Yeah, I'm the last
person. To your diary that you never show me.
You say that once I'm dead, son. Until then, you make me proud. When I'm dead, you can be anything you want, son. But till then.
Well, be something that makes me proud. Be something that makes me happy.
I came back to school just to be with you. You know, I mean, I'm 68 years old, but I'm still banging chicks that are 20.
Now go after that beatnik girl that keeps snapping her fingers.
Yeah. Give us something
I'll
else to
show what
snap.
really snaps. Oh, I was gonna say this one.
But back to Goofy.
Well, this is almost kind of like, they kind of have. I'll be honest. There's the one guy, the villain of the movie, which is Bradley Upper Crust the Third or whatever.
It's just like the
When I first heard the most douchiest kind of stereotypical, like I am the bougie, I'm the bougie college upper grad, that whole thing. That guy, when I actually assumed when I first heard that, was actually Rob Paulsen as well. But no, Rob Paulsen just voices PJ in this.
I know, I thought the same thing too while watching this movie again. I'm like, that's gotta be Rob Paulsen. It just sounds so much like it. It's like, that's not him. It's like, oh, that's kind of weird.
He's just in it.
Yeah, I thought that threw me off so much. I was like, huh.
Yeah, sounds so much like him. I'm like, oh, he's probably done more than one character in that. So hearing that, I was like, oh, wow. But yeah. And then Pauly Shore, they brought Pauly Shore back. And I could just almost see Pauly Shore coming in like, look, guys, I know it's been some time since we did the last one. And I've been thinking maybe we can kind of come in with this other angle at it. This angle where I'm no longer the like Weasel guy. Like, maybe he's changed a little bit, like 4 years, 4 years in high school, out of college now, and now into college now, he's going to try and change, be something different. Like, no, you fucking say it. Say what? You know what I want you to fucking say? You fucking say it. Wheeze in the juice. Yeah, just chucks a wad of money on the ground. Get the fuck out of there. Recording starts tomorrow at 5.
Yeah, you know your place.
A.M. A.M. That's a little early, isn't it?
6 a.m. now. Don't you fuck this up, Pauly. Don't you fuck this up. Remember when you cut your hair and in the army now? I told you it was a fucking bad idea? Goddamn. He's like, you're the one who told me to do the movie. Well, yeah, fuck you, Pauly. Fuck you. You were my cash cow. And now I'm gonna use you for all you got left.
You should have used your like artistic integrity and fought me on that. That would have been a good story, but no. You cut your fucking hair. Now you're doing the straight to DVD Goof Troop movie.
What do you think of yourself, Pauly?
Show up tomorrow at 5. Don't talk to me until then unless you have a fucking microphone in front of you.
Look at that time just constantly keeps going up. The anger he gets, the earlier you have to show up.
Like I said, 4 a.m.
Don't you fucking be a second late. What I like is like they got like, because you got the Pauly Shore, which really just makes it for the most ultimate 90s experience. Even though this thing's like 2000, I really feel like it's supposed to be like it's 1997 or something, like, because I mean it's what, like a year after Goof Troop or a couple years after, or the Goofy movie, I mean.
Yeah.
So it kind of still has that lingering thing. And even just having the extreme sports thing though, I mean if you think about it, in 2000, that was like that time period where like skateboarding couldn't have been bigger. The X Games was like, at its fullest. That was the Tony Hawk generation,
Yeah, his video game, even people who weren't into sports were all playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Shit, that's why I feel like I have all this like unnecessary knowledge of skateboarding is from Tony Hawk games. Something that I would never have had without Tony Hawk.
Oh, there was about a 6-month period where I was really into extreme sports, and it was not so much worried about me just falling down, like scraped my ankle doing like an ollie. I was like, oh, I could just like hit a bump and fall over and eat shit. That's enough to stop me.
Yeah, that's like...
It wasn't even the big things like grinding down a rail that I was scared of because I knew I'd never reach that point. So I was just skateboarding as transportation and realized, oh shit, this is actually
really fucking dangerous. Well, yeah, grind down the rail, you're like, don't think science fiction now.
Mm-hmm.
But what I like, too, is, like, they sort of tie the extreme sports in with college. It's like, you gotta go to college to be an extreme sports person. Because we all know that probably everybody in the X Games has never gone to college.
You need your master's in grindage. I don't know if I was trying to think of something funny. We're recording this later than we usually do. Yeah, need your master's before you can go do that half pipe at all.
Because it's one of those ones, like, think about everybody that's in the X Games. Think about everybody who was good at skateboarding you knew was probably, like, one of the worst students. I'm not putting a stereotype on here. I'm just kind of saying, like, from knowledge, everybody, that those two just don't seem to go hand in hand together.
Yeah, I'm thinking back on all the people who are pretty good skateboarders and that I knew personally. And, I knew some people in college that skateboarded, as transportation or just to get around. They did it for a hobby. But all the ones that were like dedicated, no, no, fuck no. They didn't have time to go to class.
Yeah, shit, no. They're fucking the Spicolis of the world, you know?
They were fucking skating, getting high, and listening to Best of Sublime.
Yeah. And Slim's doing all three at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. So, but no,
Well, and I love
this
it,
one.
I love how it's like almost like when they get to college though, they're like, "Oh yeah, dude, fucking get away from my dad," because that's always like the Goof Troop, like fucking dad just getting into everything, man. Like, dude, you can't believe the other night like Roxanne was fucking over and I was fucking her in the ass, and then Goofy jumps in too. It's like Max, what are you doing? You want me to be your cameraman? It's like, no, Dad, I don't want you to get involved.
They don't say what happened to Roxanne. I guess that didn't.
Yeah,
pan
well,
out.
she after that incident where Goofy said he was gonna film it, she said, no, fuck it. I'm going.
It's too
I'm
much.
literally
It's
going
too-
cross country to a different college.
That's probably what it is. She probably went to a different college. But I was gonna say, I could actually see it being something as much as like, because the thing about it is the show, Max and Goofy got along fine. Maybe there's a once in a while thing Goofy would embarrass him, but it's usually he's like, I love my dad. My dad's the greatest. Then it's like once he gets to that shitty jaded age in like a Goofy movie, and my dad's always fucking everything up. I'm just kind of waiting for that moment where Goofy's just like, you know what, Max, a real man faces his own problems. Doesn't blame his dad, who fucking takes care of him and supports him for his whole fucking life.
Yeah, you know what they call that? They call that an emo kid, son. I was reading up on it. And they're a bunch of fags. Like,
What
geez,
did I
Dad.
call him?
What do you say? Well, sorry, son. I was from the '70s.
What do
Believe me,
call
my
him,
favorite
son?
movie was
I call him
Saturday Night
fucking
Live.
bitch.
Or not Saturday. I mean Saturday Night Fever. You know, they use that word a lot. It became common lingo among us.
Well, I like that whole part when he actually starts doing the Saturday Night Fever thing.
Yeah.
And that whole part, because I was like, here's one of the few things Goofy's good at and doesn't fuck up at. He's like, this is what I'm good at. Fucking doing. I just got done doing a line of coke back in the bathroom.
Well, that's almost sort of like Goofy kind of reminds me. Reminds me of those kind of guys who could have been like an ex-drug addict when he was like back in the day, literally hanging out at like different clubs on Saturday night, like trying to win dance competitions, realizing at some point it's just not worth it all.
I just there's like that really intense scene like in Foxcatcher when he just like does a line of coke and he's looking in the mirror. He's like just pounding his fist, slapping his face, and like bashes his head in the mirror. Imagine Goofy just did a line of coke in the bathroom, just does the same exact thing. Like, you can do this, Goofy. You can fucking do this. And goes out there. Does the whole Saturday Night Fever. Don't fuck this up. Don't fuck this up. Oh, great. Here comes the fucking fat kid. Oh, you know what? I'll spin him. Just get him out of the way so I can get over to Sylvia. Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I like how it's like, because at first it's like when Goofy shows up, it's like everybody thinks like, dude, that's your dad. They almost like, I feel like they're almost acting like they're all a bunch of high schoolers. Or, well, I mean, I don't know. I guess college isn't that far off, so they probably are kind of the same. But it seems like there's almost a different mentality as it shifts from high school into college. But it's just like they treat him like it's like, oh, that's your dad. Like, come on, Max, super lame. After Max like really like stood him up in like this beatnik bar.
Mm. Well, that whole beatnik bar, that whole part, like, do you really want to go with that girl? I mean, the whole like sniffing up thing that always annoyed the fuck out of me.
Yeah, beatniks is like, okay, if you thought hippies were bad, it's like beatniks are like, it's proto hippies, but they're almost like 10 times worse, it seems like. Now, granted, I've never met a beatnik in real life. My only, like, knowledge from it comes from, like, movies and so on, because I just don't, I think beatnik, like, ness kind of exists, but it's kind of, like, faded from, like, that old 1950s, early 60s kind of style, you know what I mean? Like, you don't really see, like, almost like, what happens in this movie, like, you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody, like, really doing that. I mean, maybe there is one of those, like, bars in New York or something, or a coffee shop that, like, really inspires itself to be 1950s style, but I don't know.
I've seen like some shit like on like I just randomly looking like debates at college campuses recently and seeing like some super stereotypical SJWs like snapping their fingers for applause when they like agree with something someone says. Like, oh, shut the fuck up.
Well, yeah, that's totally what it is. It's just like it's almost a hippie that's I don't know. It's a weird mix of what a beatnik is, and And I just feel PJ's just getting converted by the wrong side. You know what I mean? Because, you know,
he's just doing, he's like,
but maybe he's like, you know what pissed my dad off
what?
a bunch is if I went and dated a super liberal.
I think his dad just be happy he's getting laid by a woman. I think, well, Pete, as long as she's not opening her mouth too much around me, it's fine in my book. I feel like,
well, Pete, I have to say, she's a pretty nice girl as long as she learns to shut the fuck up.
I'm pretty sure that's how he would say, you know. She's like, as long as she don't get mouthy like your fucking mother.
Yeah, as long as you're not fucking the goof kid. That's been my fear this whole 20 years.
I think that was his thing. He's like, that's the reason I didn't want you to hang out with that kid. I thought he was going to turn you.
Yeah. You just can't trust that goof kid. Anybody that doesn't like their father, you can't trust. Just keep that in mind.
Under your thumb, PJ, under your thumb.
Yeah.
No, it was like a Boy Named Sue kind of thing. He's like, well, Dad, you named me PJ. That's really close to BJ. I named you that so it'd tough you up.
Oh, I wonder what PJ's actual name is. Yeah.
Well, it's Pete Jr.
Oh, it's Pete Jr. That's right.
Yeah.
Wasn't that all original?
Yeah. Well, the whole thing with I was gonna say, PJ just realized, he looked in the mirror one day. He's like, you know what? I realized what's wrong with me. Everything. So if I want someone to like me, I gotta totally change who I am.
Well, because I love, cause like all the scenes that they show of PJ, he's like eating something, or he like spills ice cream on his shirt walking down the street.
He's a fuck up, and then once he gets around that like beatnik chick, that's when he starts acting all like just kind of saying whatever it takes to make her happy. He says, "I like this boy. I like this fat boy. He's so fat. He's so filled with spirit and soul."
She's like the kind of person to be like, PJ, you know that Burger King you really like? Oh yeah, well boy, do I ever. You got to go burn that down for me, PJ. You can't trust the Burger King people. You can't trust anybody at work. Yeah, he would be. She was about to say like one of those like almost like American terrorists that would like send PJ or else PJ on a mission to like be like he'll be the easy one to convert.
Whenever he fucks up, she calls him BJ.
Yeah, like that's what my dad calls me when I fuck up. He says you're nothing but a dirty
she's
BJ.
Like one of those, like, is he wrong? You couldn't burn down the fucking Burger King. You only killed one man in there. We need to lock it down, kill everyone. Burn down the patriarchy. Like, oh. Well, it was really hard to kill the one guy at the frying I haven't slept for a whole week. Oh my God, I can't stand you, fucking BJ. Hey.
That's mean and offensive. I thought you were supposed to be PC. Oh, good old PJ.
I just like the idea of him just like doing whatever. Well, there's actually that part where he actually gets with the girl, and then what's
Pauly Shore.
Pauly Shore's character, Bobby, tries to hit on her, and she's like, oh, whatever, and then she's like, fuck that guy, and goes with PJ instead. And then Max has this thing to Bob's like, looks like you don't have the moves no more. And then he pulls down his sunglasses from him, just gives him looks like, don't you fucking go there. He just gives him this like very stern look, and it never comes back to that. We never get to see him in a moment where he gets to make up for that at all.
Yeah. He's like, you ever see fucking Encino Man 2? It's like, what? You ever see fucking Encino Man 2? No. You know why they didn't make it? Because I fucking killed him. I killed everybody. They try to... It's just like, oh God, what's just going on? He's like, that fucking fat hobbit ain't walking anymore. That's actually a clone.
I know people.
That's why I had to do In the Army Now. Actually, In the Army Now is a good movie. I don't mean to be ducking it. I just feel that was like the shaving off of Pauly Shore's hair is really like the downfall of Pauly Shore as far as like being like a mainstream like big actor for that time period.
I gotta see it. I've never seen In the Army Now.
It's a great movie. It's got Lori Petty in it too.
I'm thinking of Son-in-Law. That's the one.
That's his best movie. Son-in-Law is like pure magic. It's like one of my. It's like I kid you not. It's in my top 5 favorite movies of all time.
Oh, okay. Well, I gotta check. I gotta check. It's been a long time since I've seen that one. I remember. I don't know. I won't go off now. I remember liking it, but it's been a long time. In the Army Now is the only one I've not really seen. I don't think. But Biodome, I remember being a tough chick to choke down.
Oh, I love Biodome. That movie's so good. But that's one of those ones I feel like you had to be there to like really like enjoy that movie. But I love that one. Like, I don't care what anybody says. A lot of people, they always use that as kind of like, oh, Biodome. Like, yeah, it is stupid. I'm not gonna lie. It's not like, but it's fucking hilarious and kind of goofy. And it's got weird like, it's got like Jack Black in it. It's like one of his first movies, and he's just like in the background playing music of Tenacious D. So it's got Kyle, what's his name? Kyle Gass.
Oh, I don't know. Is this actually, going back to this for a second, is this one of the last times you got to see Pauly Shore be Pauly Shore?
I think so, because there might be a couple, because I think like one of the other last movies I remember him sort of being in was like Jury Duty, but I think that's before this. I want to say it's like 98.
Yeah, because I think this is the last time he had the whole total like, whoa kind of attitude and character.
I want to go see him do stand-up comedy, because I just want to see what that's like nowadays, because I hear he's got a good routine.
I hear it's more of kind of like a experimental kind of like storytelling kind of bit. I mean, there's still comedy in it. It's kind of like Tom Green. I saw Tom Green do an episode of This Is Not Happening, and he was talking about being on the Celebrity Apprentice, and there's very little punchlines. It's more of just him telling the story about when he was on the Celebrity Apprentice, and he would say things kind of like, he says, and that's when the President of the United States told us to make cupcakes. Because it's one of those things where it sounds really so obscure, like, oh, I guess that actually is true, because he's the president, and he was on his show, and they had to do stupid shit like that on the show. So it'd be it wasn't so much like there's a real punchline. It was more him just his delivery and just saying absurd things, and it kind of came out more as a stand-up bit.
Yeah, exactly.
I imagine it would be something kind of like that. But regardless of that, going back to this for a minute, the whole thing, I want to say that when they do the whole, the other guy they got in there, the other big name is they got, what's his name?
Raymond's brother?
Brad Garrett.
Yeah,
Brad Garrett is Tank, who's always, hey, baby! It's like, that's the last voice you want to hear in a fucking locker room.
I know, it's almost like the perfect choice to have for us, have Brad Garrett come in and voice that big guy, and so on. And that's just part of, like, what were they, the Beta House or whatever? Or...
Gamma
House, that's right. And they just sort of make it like the douchey like frat boys that kind of go around and just like they're bought into like high or college and so on. They do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm. He just has that total like, hey, you like he has that whole like what was it? He's always calling people baby. He's always like, hey baby, right over here. And it's a guy. It's like, well, don't correct him, because one thing's gonna happen. Either if you correct him, he's either A, gonna kill you, B, gonna fuck you.
Yeah. Or both.
And nothing any of us can do about that.
Yeah, you're not getting away no matter what. So just
I mean, they have those rocket boosters on their skateboards. So
yeah, you can't trust them.
He's catchy one way or the other. Yeah.
I just love how like Goofy just like all the things he just does. He really just wants to hang out with his son. He just wants to be his son's best friend. His son's just like the most anti like father like guy out around. So Dad, I just want to do my own thing. He's really like you know what he really is at the end of the day? Like I feel like Goofy or like the Goofy movies are trying to really appeal to like the kid from Death of Superman. They're really trying to be like, come on.
Mitchell?
Except for Mitchell's more like against his mother, but it's like the other way around. Because he goes, Dad's awesome. Like, Dad's in jail. Like, yeah, because he's awesome.
he stole shit from 7-Eleven. Yeah, man, he stuck it to the man.
Exactly. And he was stealing me some, like, you know, Green Lantern comics while he was at it, too. You know, the only non-pussy superhero.
As long as Guy Gardner in it, because he has a bowl cut.
Yeah, exactly. No, I don't want anybody else in there. Just Guy Gardner. You know, I can relate to that guy. It's a man you can trust.
Yeah. Man with a bowl cut.
But
well, no, the whole thing, but it is kind of appealing to that. It seems like they are kind of trying to appeal to that. I mean, they're trying to make that middle ground, because at the end of the day, it always comes out to being Max needs to learn to accept his father, while Goofy needs to learn to kind of give him some space. They always both have that kind of middle ground in both these movies.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of nice about it. That's a nice thing. I feel like it's got like good message. I mean, Max is kind of a shitty kid, but I think like many kids are just kind of shitty in general without realizing it. But I think it does have a good like balance of like the two, and almost like a life lesson that can be sort of taught in the movie at the same time. You know, with good jokes along the way.
What kind of throws me off sometimes about a lot of these Disney movies, not like Disney movies in general, but the ones where it's like where like Goofy and Donald and all those guys are there. If it's like one of the more modern like 80s and up cartoons, everybody it's just one of those things that kind of throws me off. If you look at like, I feel like they want to draw humans, but they're like, oh shit, we live in a world with animals. Okay, just give them little black noses, and then maybe sometimes their ears will flap down, kind of like a dog, but they're all skin colored.
Yeah.
Like, it's sometimes the look of them, because it's one of those things like, I mean, I guess it's weird middle ground, because they're not furries, but they're clearly not humans either.
They're technically, I guess, like in like the sort of, really at the end of the day, it's in the same furry category, because that all stems from things like Disney stuff and Sonic the Hedgehog and things of that matter.
But I'm guessing because they all look like, they're all basically like going back to like, say, like Roseanne from the first one. She looks like a basically human girl with the side of the weird little black nose, and that's kind of what they all have. They all have that weird random like black, like Goofy and Max are like the only ones, and Pete and PJ are only ones covered in black, like only ones covered like in black fur, and their faces.
They're the only black kids at the school.
They are, yeah. That's why it's. He's like, look, Max, it's gonna take a lot to stand up in this world. The world's gonna be against you.
You see, being your father, being a black man in Disneyland, I haven't been able to get the best of jobs.
We gotta be a lot of social rights activists. Here, read this. Hands on Malcolm X's autobiography.
This was your great grandfather. It's like, Dad, that wasn't that long ago. Oh, really? Oh, well, fuck it, he's related to you. Same skin color, we're all the same. Fucking Max, go to school. Do the thing right.
Don't let the white man put you down, Max.
Oh.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things because, like, if you look at it, I mean, if it's not like, say Mickey or any of those, then you got Donald or Scrooge, they're ducks, so they're suits. They're just, everybody else is always like almost human, but then they just got a couple of weird little features. That's just one of those things in all these cartoons that always just kind of threw me off.
Yeah, it is kind of weird because you think about it. It's like that's even how like the Pauly Shore character is and everything. Maybe.
Yeah. Sometimes they have a elongated nose, like they're like the whatchamacallit, the lady Sylvia, the librarian. She's in Fox or something.
Yeah, she has that kind of look going on for her and so on. But yeah, it's kind of a weird one. The other thing I think is kind of interesting, though, too, about this one is just, like, when they just give it almost, like, the 70s theme to go mix-match with, the ultra 90s, like, extreme sports world. So it's just, like, Goofy comes back to school, and it's almost like Adam Sandler coming back and, like, Billy Madison, where he comes back, like, blasting 80s music, and it's like, no, it's not that time period anymore. You're not the cool kid.
Like, those sometimes... Well, they also have a lot of covers of 70s pop songs in there. And one or two of them, they do, like, ska covers of, like, I want to say do a ska cover of, like, Can't Hide. That song was in Baby Driver. Ready? Like, it was, like, what was it? Nowhere to run to, baby. Nowhere to hide. There's, like, a ska version of that song in this movie.
No, it's got a really cool soundtrack in it. I actually like the soundtrack quite a bit in this film.
I'll say they have this. I think it's kind of funny once they because there's that part where Goofy. I think there's some things that are kind of shit. I wrote this down. I totally forgot. When Goofy is studying in like the library, and the guy's like, "Hey, Goof, it's time to go skateboard, baby." Like, "Oh, but I gotta study for my fucking test." "Oh no, it's time to study. It's time to go like practice and skate and shit." Did you see what's on the book that he's studying?
No, what's it say?
It's a poorly, crudely drawn dick.
Really?
Look for it. Yeah. It's like, it looks like something like drawn, like it doesn't have a lot of detail, but it's like no other way. That's the only thing that could possibly be.
Huh.
It looks like something drawn like in a bathroom stall.
Yeah, one of those kind. Okay, I'll have to take a look for that. I didn't notice that when watching it.
They're probably like, you know what? It's the DVD branch or straight to video branch. They're not looking as hard as they would be like on Lion King or some shit.
Yeah, exactly. It'll kind of go like under the radar a bit. You know, I know it's another weird thing about this. I kind of read this on there. I mean, this kind of goes towards the end of the movie when they have the big triathlon, like, you know, skateboard and bicycle and rollerblade match. But there's a part where Tank crashes in with Max into like the X Games sign, and it goes down. It's like burning on fire and whatnot. And it's a moment where Tank gets stuck on there, and Max and Goofy have to like save him and pull him out. For the TV versions and so on, they've actually cut that scene out because of 9/11. Because that reminds people of like, they're like, well, it's a little too close to, you know, Twin Towers going down. It's like,
It's the big inflatable X.
a big inflatable X that for some reason had a bunch of wood inside of it. Yeah, to me, that's just like that perfect PC crap where you're like, are you fucking kidding me? Just, you know what, if anybody goes into a flaming building to save somebody nowadays, it's going to remind them of 9/11. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, when I
You know that episode? Oh, go ahead.
I say, like, when I just read that on there, it's just like, God, that's like those ones where you just want to literally go up and go like, you know what, whoever makes those comments like that, let's just get them out. Let's put them on a boat and just send them out of here and hopefully hope that boat sinks along the way. Like, if you're going to make the stupid fucking decisions like that, I just don't feel like you should be allowed to make decisions anymore. Shouldn't be able to
Yeah,
vote.
I read.
Shouldn't be able to vote. Shouldn't be able to do a whole lot of stuff. I don't know, you know, go fucking work at the Burger King until, you know, PJ comes by and burns it down.
I read that and I rolled my eyes a little bit. You want to hear something in a similar category?
Yeah, sure.
Remember that episode of Pokemon in the first season when the one Tentacruel gets like radioactive shit on it or whatever, and then it turns giant and starts attacking a city?
Oh, yeah.
They have not aired that episode on television since 9/11 because of it knocks down a building at some point.
That to me is like one of the ones that is so fucking retarded. Like, literally retarded, like, in the old definition of retarded. Okay, since we're talking about a 90s movie, we could say in the 90s definition of retarded, that's what that is. Like, fucking stupid.
Well, that word even became a replacement. That word became a replacement. Like, you know what? Well, what's the word they said before that? Well, they said idiot or mongoloid, and then, you know, those became like, those are hurtful. We got to use this new one instead. And now that's become it just trades off. It
really is. Well, 'cause like that's, I mean, it's like I always say the 90s version of gay means stupid or lame. You know, that's what, if somebody in the 90s says, oh man, that's totally gay, they mean that's totally lame. It's just a different word. It was a different time. Just like retarded.
Yeah, that's one of those. That's one I've kind of parted with. I don't really even, because I know I get the reason why that one pisses people.
Which one?
At the same time, rather than having it say, oh, that's gay. I've kind of parted ways with that one just because it's just like, oh yeah, I know, I get the reason why that one pisses people off. On top of that, I mean, I'm not offended when I hear it, but I get why that pisses people off. And also at the same time, it's like, you know, it's one of those things like why it's more effort to like debate it and say, well, what I mean by it is like, no, I know what you mean by it. But so that's one I just kind of like, all right, yeah, I dropped that one. But there are other, like, you know, but I think sometimes people get a little like, well, just going back to the overly piecing the example of the fucking like, oh, it might remind them of 9/11 if they see a flaming X Games logo.
Yeah, exactly. Like never in a million years would I would have put two and two together for that. You know, it's like that. I don't know, when I just hear that stuff, that makes me just really want to be like, you know what? Fuck people. Fuck those stupid people those are people. What bothers me about that is just those are people that they do all their actions based off emotion and not logic. And I think that's what kind of just fucking is just so stupid.
Yeah, I can see that. I see what you mean there. But regardless of that,
of that, we don't have that version, so at least we don't have to. But I feel bad for any poor child that gets like that scene skipped out on him.
You just like, you know, watch that scene in slow motion and you just like sit your son down in front of it, like, breathe in. There's a marker right here.
This is the true version. So it's like having a Cuban cigar. It's just there. It's just choices you can have.
Yeah, no, that's one of those things where I read that too, and I was just like, really? Oh, all right, whatever. There wasn't a whole lot of like weird trivia about this movie, just kind of like weird things like, actually, I do want to mention this part. There's that part where, you know, Max has this full on, just let me live my life, leave me alone, Dad. You know, that whole bit.
Yeah.
I think for the second or third time in the movie. And at some point when, you know, Goofy, he just walks off looking sad. Now, we don't see what happens. We see him coming into class just looking depressed and, like, looking strung out. And then he has a drug trip, a total fucking bad trip in the middle of his taking this midterm exam. There's no way he didn't do, like, a hit of something before he came into that class.
Yeah, he's just like, well, I found
He's like, oh, you know what? I haven't done this in a while, but some nice boy with dreadlocks sold it to me. So you know what? Well, it'll take the edge off. I used to do this back when I was a youngin'.
Well, I was the only other black kid at this school because clearly, other than me and my son and PJ,
Gave me a discount.
yeah. He said, "Welcome to the club, my man." And I hadn't taken the old Lucy in the Sky and Diamonds in a long time, Gorsh. And that's like, that's the part where like there's like the Goofy like reading Rainbow kind of thing where it's like
John Lennon, Goofy reading Rainbow thing. Well, what's funny about that part is because what they're playing, "Come on, get happy," doing like some cover of that, and he's seeing like all these little pixies of Max being happy, like, "Hey, Dad, I love you." And all of a sudden, they all combine together, turn to a monster. He's all like, you know, Goofy's all alone. He's just like, "Dad, just leave me alone." And the thing about that is when he's like, when Max like, "Just leave me alone," the Goofy with like the rainbow afro and the John Lennon glasses, it's just kind of waving like, "Whatever, man, you're fucked. Here goes your happiness away forever."
Well, then there's also another funny scene that follows that because then like Goofy like goes back to like Pete because you know when things go down he has to go back to Pete, try to like rekindle himself. And then this is the part that's actually kind of like it has like it turns the movies like what the idea it's trying to sell the kids around because Pete's all like, "Well, Goof, you don't need the school now. You know, look at me. Like, I'm super successful, never went to fucking school." And it's almost like, oh, you just explained that Goofy needed to go to school to get a job, but now you show Pete, who's super successful, and he didn't go to school. Like, who do you want to be more in life? You want to, I guess, more, well, you don't want to be an asshole who's just rich.
Well, Pete, I think though is gonna. Pete's always building his chest. He's always bragging, and he's in some ways always kind of falling down on his face. So he's one of those guys where he might have a couple things figured out, but he's, you know, not enough to be like super envious of him.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like he seems like he's like the middle class guy of the neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, he's that guy who he probably, you know, he probably does a couple of shady deals, couple of like kind of like, you know, con art, like not con artists, but like sketchy things, you know, probably, you know, tax return type shit. You know?
Yeah.
He seems like that kind of guy.
Yeah, he's that kind of guy who's always gonna find a way to make an extra nickel off all kinds of stuff. He's the kind of guy who sets up shop in like some Philippine like island area to have all this stuff made for him and so on, just so he doesn't have to pay him more than like a nickel a day.
Or he'll go out of his way, get a loan, start up some business, and get it going long enough, then get an insurance policy on it, and then have somebody burn it down, and then, you know,
Collect
like,
on
oh,
that.
well, I'm set for another 3 years, so I have to do this again.
Exactly. Still, I guess he's getting vibe out of Goofy. He's not fucking like at the toy factory.
Yeah. Or he's like, you know, I guarantee you his little like his photo business that went under. I'm assuming it went under unless he just fired Goof. I'm gonna assume what happened was he was like, well, the best thing is like you get all these young women in here who want to take pictures of the kids because they like kids. They want to be all learning about the kids. So get all these nice young women in here eager to be moms. Like, all right, Pete, it's a little creepy.
Yeah, exactly. You know, he's like, oh, you know, you put a discount out for, you know, just a local strip club. Just saying, you know, they need headshots too. Of course, Pete.
Don't worry, I got these ones.
Yeah.
Go take your lunch, Goof.
Yeah, under your thumb, Goof.
That doesn't apply to everything you say, Pete. I said, shut the fuck up and go to lunch. Like, watch it, Pete. You don't know where I've been. I've seen some shit. You know, I got a limit. One day I just might come in here with a fucking gun. The fuck you say, Goof? You heard me, bitch.
That's really what it is. He's like,
You see what happens? I just might hit you with this fucking horseshoe one day.
yeah, I'm a pretty fucking good shot, too.
I do wish, because there's a part where he throws the horseshoe at fucking Bradley Upper Crust the Third or whatever,
Oh yeah.
and it hits him in the face, and it does that whole woo, like, you know, like stars spinning around his head, and like, boo, I'm dizzy, you know. I wish it did the thing where it hits him in the throat. He's like, it just goes to the ground. It's like a collapsed throat. Just
fucking dying.
Just gets real for a minute.
That's just it.
Someone has to like stab a straw into his windpipe to like, you know, like fucking like in like a Marky Mark and Three Kings.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, be awesome. I like how they make that guy though, like he just ultra cheats and everything and whatnot, and even like Goofy learns out about that and so on. Just like the
how are we gonna win this one? How are we gonna win this one, Brad? Like, same way we do every year, Tank. We just got a bunch of massive rockets we just strapped to everybody's skateboard.
Yeah, I don't think I kind of like a goofy way that kind of, I mean, I know it's a goofy movie, but it's kind of like weird that's, yeah, there's just so much like, gadgets and so on, like, you know. No,
I will say that I do feel bad for PJ, because like, PJ, he knows how to skateboard, good for him. And then all of a sudden it's one of those things where just like, here's PJ's moment to shine. Like, get the fuck out of here, fatty. Woo! Like, Dad, our fat fuck friend who's probably dead, face down in another state right now, is out of the game. We need you in here. Okay, Pete, fuck that fat fuck. Yeah, Dad, fuck him.
I know, exactly. Because really, like, I will have to say, like, to give PJ, like, a lot of credit, that is probably, like if you were a fat kid in the 90s, like, it's actually, like, being PJ is not really the worst thing ever, because, you know, he's a fat kid, but he's got a lot of skill, and he's got a lot of grace. You know, they don't just make him like this, well, they make him a little bit the stereotypical fat kid. I mean, he is spilling fucking chocolate ice cream on himself, but beyond that part, he can still, you know, skateboard with the rest of them. Let's just say that.
I want to say this. What's the part when he says, like, your dad is moving out of the fucking campus, Max? And he's hanging out there in nothing but
his underwear,
t-shirt, and, like, fucking tidy whities? Yeah.
Well, then fucking Pauly Shore gets up, and it looks like he's wearing, like, girls' clothes. I mean,
it's not surprising.
That's not, I guess Pauly Shore is not that far off. Steven Tyler PJs.
He has a scarf to go with it.
You know, but yeah, it's just like, but Max, what if I want to beat off? I mean, you're cool with it. Pauly Shore's cool with it, but, you know.
I'm on the top bunk, so it's not like you know what's going on up there. No, PJ, we always know what's going on. We just hear, all we hear is.
And then just. And then just hear the bed go.
Going back and forth.
And then there's
you might be able to get away with it if you're on the bottom bunk, but top bunk, no.
Well, you get away with it until it shoots up, and then I just feel like the mattress get all warm all of a sudden, and I know it wasn't me.
It's just like right by, like, you know, just the ceiling just has all these fucking stains up it.
There's just like a ceiling fan above it, so every time it goes up, it just hits, it goes sprays all around.
Always wet. Gets a fucking Max right in the fucking eye, like, Peach!
Not Splooge!
It's one of those things that's his outlet, like, this is how they know I'm in charge. No one's gonna say it. But it's the one thing I have over them. I'm up here where they can't get me.
Like once, like there's that part where Goofy shows up to their house with like fucking shovels to like clean stuff out. He just looks around, it's just like stains all over the wall and ceiling and stuff. Just sticky, just like stuck to the wall.
Let me guess now. It was PJ. Oh, Mr. Goof, like, PJ, don't try to bullshit me. I know.
Well, you know, we've all been there before, PJ. You could just be a man and own up to it. And then go get yourself a hooker like a realistic person should. Who knows they can't do anything.
Don't be like your dad and lie to yourself. You're a fucker.
Okay.
You should look me in the face and say that now, PJ.
I always love the moments when Goofy gets like the serious moment where it's like it's not Goofy anymore. He's just being like a serious father explaining something.
Now, Max, I don't want you to be doing all this fiddle faddle with all this skateboarding around. I need you to go out there and be a real man. Yeah. Get a job, find a woman.
Yeah.
Kill a man. What?
I like how there is that moment though where he.
Someone's told me only. Go ahead.
I was just saying there is that moment like the beginning where like Max like I'm gonna go to college to skateboard. Like, well, no, Max. Now you know you're going to college. You know you should have a real goal in mind, not a fake one like Tony Hawk. He's like, well, yeah, but Tony Hawk's super successful. No, he blew his brains out when he was 25 years old, and that's just the way it is.
Tony Hawk. Or imagine in this world, Tony Hawk's an actual hawk.
Probably would be. I was actually, this sounds kind of weird with all the stuff that they kind of had going on in it, and since they already had, I mean, Disney owns ESPN, so that's why you have the X Games stuff in there. But I'm surprised they didn't just throw one sort of like celebrity cameo, like skateboarder in there.
Chad Muska or some shit like that.
Bob Burnquist or something like that. I wouldn't really expect Tony Hawk at that time period, but somebody, or like, Stacy Peralta or somebody, get a little bit of classic skateboarder in at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Be like Stacy Dog Alta. They'd have like some goofy cartoon name or something.
Well, they definitely had that in the Max Steel cartoon. Did you ever see Max Steel, the bad CG cartoon?
God, I remember when that came out
around the same time.
I never saw that, but I do remember that.
So the whole concept for that show was it was like basically more of a sci-fi version of Triple X, more or less. It was all a CG show, and there's this guy who was more or less this extreme sports athlete, and he would, there's always something happened and he almost died, but then the only way to save him was to inject him with some kind of fucking serum or whatever, and that gave him super strength and made him a little bit more faster. And the way it would often work out is he'd be in the middle of doing some kind of, like a big terrorist event's going to happen and during like this, big X Games play or whatever. So he's doing the game, and then all of a sudden, he has to like, whoa, I gotta go stop the bomb, and he goes off, stops the bomb, comes back just in time to get first place. And I want to say once or twice he had like Tony Hawk on there or Dave Mira. Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of cool. I didn't know that. That's pretty neat though. They had little cameos like that on that show. I always feel like with Triple X, it's like that would make for a cool like comic book series. I remember like on the We Talk Comics, like they mentioned that on one of those episodes, and I was like, you know what, that actually is, because that I feel like you could do a lot with that Triple X concept, especially back if you kept it like in that late 90s, early 2000s, where I feel like it really works. You know what I mean? I know that's like totally off topic,
we could also make it a little self-aware too.
Because that's.
It's still kind of in the same ballpark of this extreme sports stuff.
Because that's really like Triple X. It's like it's going for like. You watch the the extremely goofy movie, and then it's almost like Triple X is your next stepping stone up, because it's made for like that exact same audience, just like a couple years older.
Yeah, that's pretty much the case. Well, I mean, this movie right here, this is also once again Disney trying to be hip with the kids, but also I remember the teacher liked it because the teacher was also pointing out like they liked the little like 70s references and this and that. Like there's part of like, oh, I love 70s memorabilia. Oh, remember that episode of Gilligan's Island? And here's this giant gold clam or necklace I got from that show. Like, oh my God. Like that type of shit.
Yeah, well, I think that's what makes it kind of strong, though, is this movie's like it's a kid's movie, but it's got enough elements in it where like an adult can watch it and still like really enjoy it, I think. Even like somebody like older at that time period. It's not like the Digimon movie that like just like ixnays fucking anybody over the age of like 13.
Yeah. Well, no, it's one of those ones where I still like the other one more, but this one's worthwhile saying if you like the other one. First, I'm going to say the first one, you'll like it if you like either A, Disney movies, or you're there for it and it just has this weird kind of like nostalgic feeling for you. This one, I'm not going to say just anybody can like it, but if you like the first one, I think this one's worthwhile checking out.
Yeah, and I mean, myself, as I said, like, just watching it again, I realized, I'm like, dude, I actually like it literally just as much as the first one. I mean, the first one's got the nostalgia factor. I mean, that's always, like, what always kind of makes movies a little bit better. But I think this one's, like, really, like, a totally solid movie. And, yeah, especially, these are perfect examples. If you want to know what the 90s was like, you watch these movies. These movies will really, like, give you an insight on what it was like to, like, grow up in the 90s.
Also, this is also one of the few ones where actually, because it wasn't until recently till Disney movies became a lot more self-aware, but this one's just a little bit more self-aware in some aspects. Like there's that part where Pauly Shore is just like, I'm pretty sure he was a joke, like he just maybe dropped something, but
Just drop some
he's
acid
like,
while in like the coffee shop.
maybe because he's just sitting there, it's like, do you ever wonder why we all just wear these gloves? He's just like looking at his hands.
I know, I like that part where he's just like questioning the whole part of it.
Mhm.
He's like looking underneath it like he's gonna find something different there.
He's not gonna take it off, but he's almost afraid like to actually take it off, just peeking beneath under the glove.
Yeah, just those kind of moments and so on. But no, yeah, overall, I think it's an awesome. I really wish Disney actually kind of made movies more like this again, because I feel like there's not even a whole lot. Maybe it's just the ones like I like that 90s section of Disney a lot more. I mean, once again, it's like, I guess because I was a kid in the 90s, so it's like Saturday Night Live. I guess you gravitate towards like whatever your kind of section was more than anything else. But to me, it's like, God, it's like this kind of style. Maybe you couldn't capture it anymore. I'm trying to think. It's like, you know what I mean? You're not going to get a 90s style because it would seem kind of fake if you tried it now.
Well, I mean, if we're going to talk about, I mean, if you say, I guess you would have to either do, I guess you can do a third Goofy movie, or you could where it's just, just kind of a reunion thing. By then, you're probably retreading water, familiar water by then. But who knows?
I think you could do a third one. It could be like American Pie, where it's like they get back when they're like way older now. It's like Max has a kid, and he lives in a trailer. Oh God! Oh gosh!
What if he's fucking up? What a good that college degree got you, Max.
Yeah, that trophy clearly didn't get you.
I could actually see it being some. Oh, he broke his leg on the next X Games, and then got addicted to painkillers.
Yeah. And now he wanders the street like an alcoholic.
He was part of the opioid crisis.
It should just be that like Max walks in on fucking or not Max. Goofy walks in on Max and he's hanging out with like Dave Mirra and they're like about ready to kill each other or commit suicide together. It's like, Max, you get out of here right now. Pulls Max, whips him out the door, and then you just hear like, I can't remember how Dave Mirra killed himself, but just the most like, oh shit, they went that far with it? Oh God.
I don't know how. I forgot he killed. Dave Mirra killed himself.
Yeah, he killed himself like 6 years ago. I remember that to me. It felt like that was like one of those like weird shockers. Like in a sense, it's like not that I was like super into BMX or any of that kind of stuff, but something about because like Dave Mirra is just like one of those ones where it was just a guy you knew, really only knew him because of a video game more than anything else. But for some reason, it had this like odd connection to like my childhood. And then like when he's like, oh, Dave Mirra killed himself, it's like. He had everything. Why would he want to die? It's like he had 2 video games. Like he lived the dream that none of us have like normally can have.
Dave Mirra BMX 2 for GameCube was one of the first GameCube games I got. He was I didn't know. I knew he was dead. I didn't know he killed himself.
Yeah, he killed himself. I just can't remember how he killed himself, but
damn.
It was a sad moment for a guy I really knew nothing about other than he had a video game where he was a BMX guy.
Well, I remember seeing a couple episodes of Jackass here and there.
Oh, that's right. He wasn't some of those.
He was just one of those names you knew.
Yeah.
He was just one of those names you heard, one of those guys you knew of, and just like, he was more, as far as I knew, he was like the Tony Hawk of BMX.
Yeah, exactly. He was exactly the Tony Hawk of BMX, just the guy top. And then there's Kelly Slater, because I just remember he had a game at that time period too. Kelly Slater, Pro Surfer. That's the only reason I know it, because it was all tied in the video games.
Mm-hmm.
But I think making a third Goof Troop movie would be actually kind of cool, though. Even if you did do it where it was one of those ones, I mean, I realize you could do it where Goofy's a grandpa. I guess that is how, if you want to go that route.
You could, and it's almost more of maybe Max realizing he's more like his dad and just trying to find that middle ground. Like his kids are almost like I guess you could do one of 2 things. If the kids are too stupid and too much like his dad, he doesn't want the kids to be like that. Like, quit acting like your fucking grandpa. You're better than that. Or it's one of those things where he finds himself kind of in like a similar position. He's like, and he goes to his dad, like, how did you do it?
You could have that, or you would have the one where like the kid. If you want to do a weirder one, you'd have the one where like the kids relate more to like Goofy than Max does. If you want to have that kind of like father dynamic in there. But those mostly work in the other way.
I was listening, but the audio cracked out.
Oh,
what was that?
You have that dynamic where like the kids get along with Goofy, but like Max is still kind of like, yeah, well, I got this law firm now that I'm working at, Dad, and I just don't have enough time to hang out with you. You could have one of those fathers. But Max, you gotta spend time with your sons. Like, yeah, you know, I'll get to it when I do, Dad. Like, don't. I'm 48 years old, Dad. Quit bossing me around.
It could be like Rocky. What was it? Like Rocky
5?
4 or no? Was it 5? Where he's all like, "You gotta be your own man. It's not your. It's not my fault. It's your own fault if shit's going bad." Like that whole thing where he just talked to. He's like, "I gave you everything." That whole like speech he gives him.
To like his kid, because like the kid's like, Dad, why are you training Tommy Gun? I'm your son. He's like, I bought you a fucking robot, you disrespectful little punk. Like, yeah, but Dad, Polly's fucking the robot right now.
I don't got time to be your friend, so I bought you a friend. A robot friend.
When I was a kid, that's all I wanted was a robot friend. Who are you to judge with a robot friend?
I was stuck with Polly. I would have traded Polly in an instant for a robot friend.
I tried to get Polly turned into a robot, but instead I just had to get a robot that would be, you know, could take care of you and Polly could fuck, because I just knew that was going to happen anyways. You know? No, but like, because you could go both ways with Max. Like, he could either be that kind of guy, like, he has like an uppity job now because he went to college and, you know, I don't know what PJ would be like fucking making sandwiches, like, at like some kind of Subway knockoff place.
Like work at Subway or whatever, or Togo's.
Yeah. Just the Pauly Shore character. I don't know what would he be doing?
What if he just like got really?
It feels like he'd be successful.
What if he got his shit together?
Yeah, he'd be successful in like a weird entrepreneurship. I feel like.
What if not even that? What if it's just like he just like runs like a carpet store and he's just very straight laced, very boring, very like wife and a couple of kids, and it's just it's like one of those things. He's not happy, but he forces a smile.
Yeah, I can sort of see that, but I feel if anybody be more straight-laced, I could see Max almost becoming more of that kind of character arc. I feel like Pauly should be the kind of guy be like, hey, bro, I got my own business going. Like, what are you doing? Like, oh, you know, I sell medical marijuana. It's pretty cool, huh?
I can see that. I can see that one happening, too.
You know, and just like...
I can see it.
It would almost be just one of those...
Living my passion.
Be like one of those like family reunion kind of things where it's like, okay, I gotta go visit my dad, you know, for Christmas. Be like... But like you haven't seen your dad in 10 years? Like, no, after I gave him that trophy, I was so fucking pissed about giving it. It's just like so shitty about it. Just like, yeah, he's just a goof, you know, I'm still trying to get over this goof thing. It's like, even though I love my dad, I'm just like not saying I don't, but just don't want him in my life, man, you know? Just be like, have that weird relationship going of Goofy and Max. It's either that, or you do go the other direction where it's just like almost like Max's new kids are just like, you can bring Roxanne maybe back into it too. Be like, oh yeah, we got back together after college. You know, I had to make the rounds. You know, sow my wild oats. But now,
or it could be one of the ones like she's the one that got away and he's trying to get with her again.
Yeah, I'd just be like maybe he's back in town or something like that, and stuff, and then like maybe it's like she has like it's like they make it like kind of more like, because I feel this works more in the Goof Troop style. It's like she actually has just a kid, but she's a single mom.
But she's what?
No, she has a kid, but she's a single mom now, and that's like Max is back in town.
I could see Roxanne being the total, like, you know, she didn't seem like she was like a super preppy popular girl, but I could see her being that girl who was like, you know, she got like, you know, she just became kind of like a Walmart mom, sort of.
Yeah, this is like glory days. She'd totally be that lady in the song.
Everyone has a Bruce Springsteen song to them.
Exactly. It just kind of, yeah, because Max was like, he was a big sports star in the X Games.
We should probably wrap this up. I can't even really hear the audio all that good by this point. Yeah, we should probably wrap this up.
I would still like to see a Goof Troop 3 movie, if anything like that. But who knows? Probably not going to happen anytime soon, because this movie was 18 years. It's fucking weird to say. The second movie was 18 years ago. So long.
Don't tell me that.
God damn. 18 years ago. Well, God, you don't want to know what the age is. Dude, we're coming up almost on the 25th anniversary of the first movie. Feel sadly
Jesus.
old, but still. So I don't think that the chance of getting a Goof Troop movie anytime soon, little to none, but I would still love to see it anyways. I don't care. In this day and age when we can get straight to DVD movies that kind of can be just target audiences, why not? Disney's got the fucking money. There's no excuse. But till then, check out Extremely Goofy Movie. It's a fun one to watch. I think they even have it on Netflix right now. If for some reason you don't want to go out and buy it. And I think it's uncensored on Netflix, so good for that. Good for Netflix fighting the fucking anti-9/11 people, or whatever the fuck you want to call them. Anti-American, anti-freedom people. Fucking people that want to censor stuff.
Let freedom ring.
Yeah, let freedom ring. Let freedom ring. Just like what Tom Morello said. But till then, check out oldmanorange.com for more podcasts, comics, music, movies, more, and all that fun stuff. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan.
We will see you some other time.
Later, folks.
Thanks again for listening to the Old Man Orange podcast. Be sure to check out oldmanorange.com for more podcasts, comics, animations, videos, and a whole lot more. You can easily support the show by buying something from one of our Amazon links on the website or in the show's description itself. Doesn't cost you a penny, but every single thing you buy from there just by using that link to take you to Amazon helps us out a bit. You can also really help the show out, though, by spreading the word the good old-fashioned way, and rate and review us on all the sites that you find this podcast. Anything from iTunes to Podbean to Newgrounds, YouTube, you name it, any little bit helps. Give a sub and share it to your friends, family, any jamoke you see out on the street, you let them know about Old Man Orange podcast. And be sure to check out the Old Man Orange comic book Pizza Boys on both Amazon and Comixology. Till then, we'll see you some other time.